Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Thursday weather update for January the 19th. We are tracking 3 low pressure systems, number 1, number 2, and number 3. We've also got some big powerful areas of high pressure. One of them is departing away from us to the east behind me, but the next one coming in here south of Australia. Now on this map today, it also shows the past 24 hours of rainfall. So you can see here with this low pressure zone near the North Island, producing easterlies and wet weather along that eastern side. Over in Australia, the past 24 hours showing a bit of rain moving through a number of inland areas, especially across New South Wales and some parts of Victoria. Then up here we've got Tropical Cyclone IRENE. It is the second cyclone of our season and the first one to get to Category 2, which it did this morning. Now this storm is moving quite quickly over Vanuatu and be moving out to sea. We'll show you a map about that in a moment. And then over here we've got another low pressure zone in the Coral Sea. This one may also become a named tropical storm. It's going to be a bit borderline, but it's possible this weekend that could happen, but it will be short-lived. It's likely to remain out at sea. And like these ones, they're all sort of tracking along like that. This one, as I say, not a cyclone, but in the same path that Cyclone Hale just the week before came down from. So they are a series of low pressure systems tracking along like this, but we've got these big blocks of high pressure that are also controlling how far south they end up getting. Let's take a look at the storm as it moves in. So we've got Port Vila here right at the moment when we recorded this, being hit by some pretty strong winds. Thunderstorms in the mix as well. Most of those thunderstorms around the centre of the storm, which is tracking into the southern islands of Vanuatu. And you can see it's quite clearly to the north of New Caledonia, but the heavy rain over the past 24 hours has been up there in the north. Let's take a look at basically 12 hours or 11 hours from that map going into tonight. So the map we just showed you, the storm is here. This is where it is tonight, moving away from populated parts of Vanuatu and New Caledonia, and Fiji next to it, but away from it. The storm is moving southeast and is starting to weaken at that point. So short-lived as well, because there's unfavorable conditions down here. So the further it moves down, the more likely it is to fall apart. Let's have a look at lunchtime Friday. Can you believe this week is already, like we're getting to Friday already? There is the storm system, so it's well away from land. Tonga might be getting a little bit of windy weather on the outer edges, a little bit of wet weather just passing around there, but nothing major for you. New Zealand, a little bit unsettled with a bit of low pressure in the region. Still a couple of those afternoon downpours, some of them heavy, and a bit of rain coming back into the west coast. Up here you can see that next low pressure zone and the easterly winds carrying on for New South Wales and even a little bit of Queensland as well. Sydney's sort of showery weather continues. Now let's go into the weekend. So Saturday, there is that next low pressure system and it's potentially a tropical cyclone. It's right on the borderline of it forming, but if it does, it will be short-lived and it looks pretty much like a burst of rain really more than anything for New Caledonia. That's the remnants there of IRENE, so it falls apart. It's a glitch in the system. There's a funny line, which a lot of maps globally have this glitch just east of New Zealand, and that's the reason why it's cutting one number off. The air pressure is not 104. If it was, there'd be something terrifying going on. But that is a very weak system. And you can also, a little bit hard to see, but there's a southerly change coming in here. Dunedin, you're high on Saturday, little bit, well, let's call it not depressing, we'll call it refreshing. And on Sunday, that refreshing change moves up into other parts of the South Island. There is a cold front coming through here, but it's pretty weak. These showers you see in the north here are more likely to be those afternoon heavy downpours, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. And then that other system up here to the north that is potentially another tropical cyclone already on Sunday falling apart because of unfavorable conditions thanks to this big high ballooning out into the Tasman Sea. So next week on Monday, that system looks likely to completely fall apart. That's why I'm saying for New Caledonia, it's definitely more of a rain event than a wind one. And in the New Zealand area, that slightly cooler change moves up. We've got showers in here. It's worth noting though that for pretty much every part of the country for the next 7 days ahead, most places are leaning drier than average. And those showery easterlies carry on for Sydney and other parts of coastal New South Wales. And on Tuesday next week, in comes that high pressure system, warm, showery northerlies and thunderstorms for Australia. And we've got in the tropics that leftover low pressure. In fact, there's a fair amount of low pressure all up in the tropics there. But for now, this is a big high pressure zone, meaning New Zealand has Mostly settled weather coming up, other than those sort of coastal showers here and there. That is all from me. Back again tomorrow with our next update. We'll see you then.